Ooh, noise. Okay. Good morning. Sorry if I seem a little surprised. Excuse me. I've been having a lot of problems going live on the internet with various channels, and I don't know why. I mean, hello, hi Lisa. You sent me a music video, Lisa Lula, and please look up Lisa Lula's channel on YouTube. I've had I've been having, and it's not my local internet, it's not anything else. Now a drive can be in for 5 minutes. Okay, so I want to talk to Lisa live online, but obviously there's only a little bit of typing in the chat, which is great. And if you're listening to this, anybody else, which I don't think anybody else is listening, then then please do me a favor. I went live on this channel because I've been releasing a lot of music, lots and lots of music, and I post it on all social media, and no responses, hardly any, and the occasional thumbs up, but no likes, no nothing. And it's purely a test for me because so many people don't believe that there is such a thing as being shadow banned. Now, I may have been shadow banned. What does that really mean? I don't know. But I believe it's when an algorithm is programmed to not allow you to grow your audience. And I think Tunnel Mental reached 1.56 listeners, which I was very happy with. I was okay with that for a while. But then I looked at the amount of views that my latest video, and it's always my latest video because as a musician and an artist, you know, your latest thing's your greatest thing because you're constantly fed by the creative flow. So that creative flow that's within you has been released. So it's fun. I share it's with some of my friends, and it helps. Yes, I've been sharing them with lots of people, and the only time it really has any traction, which is good advice, thank you, Saturnian Sun. As I've been posting them in friends' comments, I seem to get some traction. So, but if I post them directly on, let's say, Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or because you can only do snippets on TikTok, whatever. But if I've been wherever I've been posting them, I don't get much of a result by directly posting them as Tunnel Mental. So maybe, and this has been suggested to me by many people who don't understand the technology of the algorithm and the way in which it can be programmed to not allow a certain amount of things to happen, as well as to allow a certain amount of things to happen. After all, if you have allowance, you have disallowance. So, you know, there's a flip side to every coin. But yeah, when I post in other people's comments, but I think one of the other things that happens is I think people that share my music help my clicks and my likes. Now, I'm not interested in personally getting clicks and likes. I'm interested in keeping a roof over my head, food in my stomach, all the good things from my ventures with my music. I mean, I constantly working on music, new music all the time, and I would like, if it was possible, and I've seen many people making a living out of pontification, and I don't want to be a pontificator. I've been on many podcasts, I've been talking to many people, I have many friends. I get away from this black mirror and I go out and talk to people, but it doesn't seem to drive up the numbers, and the numbers aren't important except for indicators of whether you're reaching a wider audience. Now, many years ago, I got to the point where it was like, it wasn't important. It isn't important to me personally. I didn't care. And I, even when I was playing live and doing live shows with a full band and all other stuff, it did not matter to me as long as there was one person in the audience, you know, because you're actually doing it for the gratification and the joy of sharing. And if you're sharing with no one, or sharing with so few people, it can be disheartening. I mean, it's disheartening for many people. This is live. Yes, it's live now. Ocean Breeze. I have 3 people in the chat room, which is great. Thank you so much. I will post this probably at the end of it if it allows me to, which is another thing that happens. I get glitches, even though I have really good internet connections and all those things that are necessary for me to be able to do this. It still doesn't it's still, the end result is to post it and to see if anybody reads it. It's like if there was a notice board, you know, in your local supermarket, and you put up an ad and people walked in and they were looking at the notice board and all the things are going, oh, that's interesting, oh, that's interesting, oh, that's interesting. And then they saw yours and it was blurred out. That's how it feels to be shadow banned. It feels like you're posting where everybody else posts and nobody can read it. It is quite disheartening, and it must be very disheartening for many young people who are trying to push forward with their creative output. I mean, when we output to the world, we are doing it from a place, if you're a true artist, if you're doing it from a place of love, which is ultimately what we all try and do, is we try and explain through our narrative, through music, through our art form, through painting, through whatever your medium may be. We try to put it out to the world, not as wisdom, but as a connection. We're trying to make connection with each other. And I think that's a very good thing. The problem being is, and I keep saying, okay. The problem being is our minds have been duped to believe that this is the option, and we've been pushed by the technologies into a place where we rely so heavily on the technologies that are available, and some of them are social platforms like YouTube, which is owned, I think, by Google, and Google is owned by Alphabet, and blah 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 blah. And you know, you get to a point where you're like, I'm playing in this corporate building and I'm talking about disinvesting in the corporate mind, the hive mind. So there may be the very reason that I get shadow banned, because a true connection is you to the greater good, whatever you want to call it. And anybody that gets between you and the greater good has an agenda. And that can be, even people you work with and friends who are duped. But it most of the time is somebody who works for a bigger organization who thinks that they're doing the right thing. The priest thinks he's doing the right thing by standing between you and God and saying, no, 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 you're doing it wrong. I'm trying to make a connection with the greater good. I'm trying to build a better world, to have people freely thinking about who they are in this world and what they do in this world, and how to be a continuously conscious co-creator. Lisa Lula, for example, who's in the chat, is a conscious co-creator. She sent me a video of herself playing a guitar and singing live in a field. Well, it looked like it was a graveyard with woods, you know, trees around her, in nature. But it was beautiful, it was serene, and it was very real, and it touched my heart, and I love that. That's not to say it's going to knock Beyonce off of a tree, or Madonna, or, you know, Taylor Swift, or anybody else. What it's going to do, though, is it's going to resonate on a one-on-one level with people, because she's looking directly at you in some of it, and she's singing from her heart, and from her heart pouring that into the world. And I think it's beautiful, and it should get 1 million hits, but it won't, because she doesn't have the weight of a corporation behind it, and she's doing it on a corporate sponsored medium, which is this is a corporate sponsored medium. Whether we like it or not doesn't matter. I have friends that have been outright banned on YouTube for saying things that I'm saying right now. I think it's maybe better to be outright banned and then find alternatives like Telegram or Rumble or BitChute or Substack or Patreon or whatever it is. I think it might be better to be outright banned than it is to be shadow banned, because when they chip away at your need for connection with others, which we all do. I mean, we're human beings, for God's sake. For God's sake. We're human beings. We are gregarious by nature, and we connect with each other. And there's a good connection. And it's, you know, it's all to do with unconditional love, that unconditional love that we're born with. And we get to the point where it's like, I just want people to be aware that that is their currency. That's their true currency, is love, unconditional love. And that's far more important than anything I'm ever going to do. And I'm not talking about the importance of my music or whether it ought to be, you know, up there with people, up. It's like, no. I do it for me, and I do it for love. And I think that we're being duped into believing that popularity and the amount of likes and the amount of ego stroking is more important than the message you're putting out there. So keep putting out the messages, even if you're shadow banned, even if you seem disheartened by the amount of people who are not getting it. We are getting it. It's just we're getting it through other ways. The way in which we are daily in the world, going out there and just saying, hi, good morning, I love you. These are all things that are more important as connections. But I still want to get to the point where I could make a living out of making music and making art, because I've been doing it now for, gosh, I've been doing it for over 30 years. It's just, but I do it for me, and I'll admit that that's the self-gratification of knowing that I have a connection, and I try to channel that connection towards something that's greater than me. So, you know, anyway, pontification over. So you're a music channel. Yes, Tunnel Mental is a music channel. I struggle sometimes with the way in which it's presented, and Tunnel Mental is a music channel, but there is a playlist. You go to Tunnel Mental on YouTube, you look up Tunnel Mental and you go to Tunnel Mental's channel, not Tunnel Mental as a topic, because that's their ownership of you. But Tunnel, YouTube Tunnel Mental. And then you can look and there are playlists or parts within that. And one of them says Tunnel Mental music or music. And that one has, I think, over 250 songs on it. And you can just choose from those songs and you just be on the specific music part. When I save this little pontification, I will save it in some other playlist that hopefully doesn't go to music, even though in a way it part of what I am as an artist is I am art and I am my music, but I will try and keep the pontification and the talking away from the actual music and the videos and the films that I make for my music, because they're more outpourings from a channeled source, and one that I've learned to do over the years. And I try and help people who are struggling to get the music out as well. I mean, I try and help people by producing their music or remixing their music or mastering their music and helping them get their word out. I mean, obviously I have to be in some way connected to the beauty of that, which, I mean, some I can't seem to find a connection with, but most music, most art, I'm very connected to, because it's an expression, hopefully a free expression. Anyway, the algorithm loves repetition, playlists don't work, need constant output of content to gather an audience. I put out a song a week almost for most of 2023 and 24 so far, and I write and I constantly put out music and videos. It doesn't seem to make any difference. My most recent song has some hypnotic visuals which I've used in the past, which are from the Fibonacci sequence, from sacred geometry, from fractals, can't remember. But I've even started working with people who are speaking wisdom, and I set it to music rather than my own voice. And maybe I should put it out under a completely different name on a completely different channel, but it's not that. I mean, it's because I'm using a digital interface all the time in order to put my music out, that the digital interface is, for whatever reason, I don't get likes or popularity or comments. And so I'm asking for people to subscribe to my channel, Tunnel Mental, on YouTube, and ring the bell. And the reason I'm doing that is because I would like to know if anybody actually really is. But then I still don't trust the algorithm, I suppose. It's very difficult. I mean, in the bigger picture, you zoom out and you go, everything's going digital, and you don't want that. But I always thought of it as the internet in general, as a very useful tool. It's like, you know, being able to walk into a library, but you have in your mind and your heart a place to go in that library for reference that you're looking at something specific. But now you're inundated with everything. I mean, it's all there all the time, and it's like, wow. I think it was Oscar Wilde that said, I can resist everything except temptation. Anyway, enough chat. Anybody got any questions? Anybody still there? I mean, I must bore people to death. And I know, Lisa, you're very busy, so you've gone out. Have to go. You're looking well. Love to you. We'll listen later. If you post it, I'll definitely post it. Lisa Lula, who is just a brilliant musician, artist, mother. Yeah, she's just an amazing woman, and I've been very impressed by her ability to just manage life with the beauty of raising children. So, Saturnian Sun, are you still there? A song a week should be working. Well, it's not. Ocean Breeze, is this now? Yes. So any questions from anybody out there? I'm in Los Angeles. I live, well, just outside Los Angeles. Yeah, any questions, Saturnian? So I don't know your real name. My name's Nigel. I go by Tunnel Mental as music and art. But yeah, if you have any questions or suggestions, that's a good word, isn't it? Comments or suggestions. Oh, Gary. Gary, I hope, I don't know. I know several Garys. If it's Gary Warnerdan, I always get your name wrong. Anyway, Saturnian Sun. Good. Yeah, I mean, the part of, okay, I'm going to do a little tiny bit of recap. The part of you that feels the urge to build, to be creative. Thank you for sharing that on your community page. That would be awesome. Bless you. Thanks, Gary. The part of you that has the urge to share creatively is the part that's trying to be suppressed by the people in control of the medium, you know, which is this piece of hardware. So they have a need to control others because they think that people need controlling. And I don't believe conscious co-creators need controlling. I think conscious co-creators are trying to build a better world. And so if you have the urge to build, make, craft, anything creative, if you have the urge, follow through and make it, do it. And it doesn't matter what people think of it. It really doesn't. Just the actual joy that I feel and many other people feel as artists is in the creation of their art. Sharing it is a bonus and maybe even a way of making a small amount of money for food, shelter, and healthcare, whatever, you know, the things that are important in life, which I believe should be free anyway, but we'll get into that pontification if I went all political and stupid. But what I'm trying to say is if you have a connection to the greater good and you are a creative human being, keep creating and keep pushing that creation towards the better world. That's it. Ooh, Womb music, new releases. Lots of people releasing new music. My channel is a hobby to me. I just like expressing myself. And so you should express yourself. hobby is a good thing. I mean, that's something you hang no expectations on, but you have passion for. I think hobbies are great. Mine has been more of one of like a compulsion. I feel compelled to make music, and I feel compelled to try and get it out to a wider audience. And I don't know where that compulsion comes from. I don't believe it's ego. I've been very, very careful not to put myself in much of my music videos, in much of my stuff. The pontification part of it might be a little bit of ego. It might also be just me reaching out to try and make a connection. I think that's where it really comes from. The idea that I need to connect with other humans. I mean, there are other humans here in the place where I live. It's a community. So I reach out. I took a friend out for his birthday yesterday, and we went out for dinner, and that was lovely. Yeah, I mean, I'm active in my community, but I'm also active in this community. Nothing wrong with ego, as long as it's in check. Perfectly put. We all have them, and you know. But that's the thing, isn't it? You don't. I mean, oh gosh, Maggie Smith, but I can't credit her with the actual saying. But gosh, it wasn't about ego, but it was about religion. But in a way, it's kind of plays into what I'm talking about. I think her quote was, "Religion is like a penis. It's perfectly acceptable that you have one, but stop waving it in my face." That's the ego, you see. The ego is encroaching on people's belief systems, and you got to be really, really, really weird, but you've got to be really forgiving about people's belief system, because what we believe I think we can create. So that's the conscious co-creation that I'm talking about, is the ability to stay creative, to stay real with what you're doing. And that's being chipped away, I believe, by digital interface becoming more important than an analog interface, which is why I get out a lot, and I go and meet people as much as possible, and I work within my community. All right, that's about enough for today. But thank you so much, Gary, Lisa, Ocean Breeze. I don't know who you are, but if there's an ocean breeze, I'm bound to feel it, and that's beautiful. All right, nature's good. Nothing wrong with ego. All right, I love you, and share my music. Don't share this pontification, but share my music as much as possible. And Saturnian Sun, where can I find your stuff? Have you got a link to any of your creations? Because I would love to see some of that. Ocean Breeze, maybe you're here on YouTube doing stuff. I don't know. I'll look up both. And of course, go and look at Lisa Lula's beautiful music. She's great. Anyway, love and peace, and have a great day. It's Happy Tuesday. Every day's happy, isn't it? All right. Love, love, love. Bye. End stream. There we go. Cheers.